Okay, so we are on our road trip and we are stuck at a Barnes & Noble, which could be worse. We could be stuck much worse places, like still on the side of the road. So we're stuck at Barnes & Noble, so we figure we're going to film our videos while we're here because we got nothing better to do. We're doing today the I messed up book tag. Hang on. The first question is a character appearance that you misread at first. And so for me, I don't know why exactly, but when I first read Twilight, I mixed up Alice and Rosalie's description. And I think it's because being blonde and like in the 90s, growing up in the 90s, like everybody dyed their hair blonde and it was very Baywatchy and very like Pamela Anderson, like pre-packaged pretty. And so I don't think of blonde as being like automatically like the hottest girl in school that everybody wanted to look like and all that stuff. And so I mixed up their hair color. And so then like I got to the end of the book and they're mentioning like Alice's short spiky black hair and I was like, ah!
When I first read Divergent, I didn't read Triss's description. I don't read any descriptions, but I didn't think of Triss being very short and blonde. I pictured her being medium height and brown hair. So
wait, Triss is blonde?
Yes, Triss is blonde.
In the book she's like dirty blonde or something.
Okay, so mine's the same as Lindy's because she's like, I didn't realize that Triss was short and blonde, and I'm like, wait, she's blonde? Like, when did that happen?
Question 2 is name a character name that you can pronounce wrong.
So every single name that Kiera Cass puts in her books, because Evelyn, Shreve, like, those names are beyond me.
Like I have one that I intentionally mispronounce. Both Lauren and I mispronounce in Stardust. The character's name is Tristran, and we pronounce it Tristan because Tristran is stupid and too hard to say.
For me, it was actually Hermione in Harry Potter because it's not a common name here in the US, so I totally pronounced it Hermione until I listened to the audiobook and I was like, oh.
And question number 3 is name an overused trope that you're still not tired of seeing, and I'm gonna go with 2 of them that are just kind of genre tropes. I am not tired of seeing zombie novels. I will read it if it's a zombie novel. I don't care what it's about. It's a zombie novel, I'll read it. And dystopian, I still like dystopian. I mean, they can get a little tiring if you read too many back to back, but I still love dystopian. So those are mine.
I do like reading about corrupt governments and revolutions. That's not too old.
So I still like the Chosen One type novels. There seem to be a zillion of them, but I don't know, I still like it.
Question number 4 is a cliche character that's more fun watching in a movie than reading about in a book. And I'm gonna go with like the really ditzy sidekick friend character because like in a movie or a TV show, like they can be kind of fun and only need a little bit of character development, but I think that's one of the many types of characters that like when you spend the amount of time with them where they're in a long book, they need more character development and they need more screen time to get that character development. Otherwise, they just get really annoying.
So I would have to say that it would be like the flamboyantly gay friend because in the movie they get all the best lines and they're hilarious, but in a book you get a little bit too much of them and they can be distracting from the story.
The next question is a word or a phrase that you learned because of its use in a book, and I literally like the word tome, like T-O-M-E.
Oh, yeah.
My phone would always like not autocorrect time, it would just leave it as tome. And I'm like, even once I learned what it meant by use in a book, I was like, how often am I really going to be texting about a big, giant, massive book and use the word tome instead of just describing a really big book? And not be using the word time. Like, you can't just assume I probably mean time. That's annoying.
A phrase that I learned or a word from a book was +4s. In Goblet of Fire, when they go to the Wizarding World Cup, they see all these wizards who are trying to dress in Muggle clothing, but it's not really working. And one of them is wearing +4s. And I had no idea what it was. And so I was about to be getting married, and I had an English florist, so I asked her what they were. And it turns out they're horseback riding pants. Who knew?
Lindy, do you have one that you can...
I'm trying to think. So for me, I didn't know what a bogey was for the Bat Bogey Hex in Harry Potter, and they just now told me that it means booger. So I just found that out.
So my question is it flying boogers with like bat wings, or is it like bats that fly at you shooting boogers out their nose? Do bats fly out your nose instead of boogers? I don't understand what it is.
I don't think
These are questions that J.K. Rowling needs to answer. Like, screw all these other things that people are like, what's my Patronus? I don't give a crap. I want to know about the Bat Buggy curse. Next question is, have you ever not finished a required reading for school?
No.
You're a liar. Your teachers aren't even watching. You graduated. You're done.
I kind of feel like this is a silly question because, like, are there people who
finish everything they're supposed to read?
They're supposed to read for school,
All
except
of
for
them?
Lindy, because I'm pretty sure she's a robot.
I feel like she probably cheats and reads the last few pages and then is like, nah. I'm serious. She does that. It's straight back from us.
Hi, Anne.
Anne's here. She's finding the bathroom. We're leaving that in. She's not going to know until this posts. So, Lindy, have you ever not finished a required reading for school?
I have always finished my required reading. I can honestly say that.
Nerd. Sorry.
I am a nerd.
Nerd sneeze. Okay, so I have several. The ones I specifically remember, I did not finish Ivanhoe, but our entire class did not finish Ivanhoe. We kept trying to read it, and then we were trying to watch the miniseries, and the miniseries is like 11 hours, and class was only 55 minutes. And so that wasn't working, and we went away for, like, I think Thanksgiving break, and when we came back, we just started a new book, and nobody, like, the whole class just didn't read Ivanhoe. The next year had to read Ivanhoe, and we missed out. I also did not finish The Scarlet Letter, because that book is terrible. There's not a single likable character in it. Everyone sucks. Like, everyone sucks up one side down on the other. There are many more books in school I didn't finish because I hated them, but those are the ones that are coming to mind. I thought of another one, and this one's a great story. So I did not finish reading A Tale of Two Cities, because if you've never read it, Charles Dickens was being paid by the word. That's right, by the word, ladies and gentlemen.
And it shows.
And it shows. Our teacher had read the last speech, which is a far, far greater thing I do now than I have ever done, and told us it was her favorite speech in all literature. So the day before the test, I reread that speech like 4 times, because it would be stupid not to. And then, a couple days before the test, there was an episode of Wishbone that came on, and guess what book they did? Tale of Two Cities. Guess who planned on finishing the book but ended up not finishing it? Me. Guess who made the highest grade in both honors classes? Me. What's the story, Wishbone? A 98. So the next question is, have you ever skipped or wanted to skip a particular character's point of view? Now, I don't skip it because I'm always worried that, like, there's something I'm gonna miss in there, but I will say some of Rick Riordan's books. I will say Carter Kane. He is the blandest character and, like, a do-nothing, and he's kind of boring to read.
I also had the same problem with the last Percy Jackson and the Heroes of Olympus. I never actually skipped a chapter, but I know my mom
But you wanted to.
The Michael Bay series with this The Prisoner of Cell something. I don't know. Like, in the middle of his book, he will leave Michael's point of view and go off on a random tangent about the villain. And the villain's an awful villain. Just like, he's not he's not constructed well. And I don't really want to hear about the villain for 50 pages when I could be hearing about the main character and his struggles.
I'd have to go with the Rick Riordan books too, the Heroes of Olympus series. I haven't skipped a chapter because, you know, they're still fun, but I really want to get back to the meat of the story. It kind of takes you out of that to change viewpoints.
Have you ever canceled social plans to read a book? I personally have never canceled social plans. I have, however, like, I was in the middle of Harry Potter 4, I want to say, and so, like, I would read it at the stoplights. Like, I was on the way to my friend's birthday party, and so, like, I'd stop at the stoplight and, like, read, and then somebody'd honk at me, and I'd, like, drive, and then I'd, like, read, and it was taking a while to, like, leave the party. And yes, I stuck that monster mammoth tome of a book in my bag and was like, I'll just leave it in the car when we go to the club. And then it was taking a while to leave the house, and so I just kept reading, and they're like, you're such a nerd, and I was like, it's a good book, shut up. Lauren, have you ever canceled social plans to read?
Maybe.
That's yes.
Yes, I have done that. I won't say with who, because they're probably on my Facebook.
It might be you. If you're wondering, it's probably you. Lindy.
I usually don't have social plans, as is previously stated. And sometimes if the good book comes out the night before, I'll be reading it and just not show up.
I probably have. Like, I'm not gonna lie. I know I read New Moon like all night long. Like, I just stayed up 24 hours.
I did
just
too.
So I could finish the book, and I may or may not have had things to do the next day.
I didn't.
that
I wasn't
got
working the
missed.
next day, so.
I don't remember. It's been too long.
So when I was reading it, it was like 11:30, and I like jumped out of my bed. My roommate had not read the book, and so I like stumble over to her, and I'm like, Edward left. He just like effing left. He's like up and left, and she's like, is he coming back? I thought they were like soulmates forever, and I was like, I don't know. And so this is funny if you've read the book. I was like, I'm just gonna keep reading at least until the point where I can tell Edward's gonna come back. Yeah, it's funny, right?
That works well for you.
Yeah. So then at like 3:30 in the morning, there's a Cullen car outside, and I'm like, it's cool. I'll just read so I can tell who's there because. Thank you. So I was like, I'll just keep reading because I know it's not Edward. I just want to find out who it is, but I can't like stop in the middle of the chapter. So I was like, I'll just read till the end of the chapter, and then that chapter ends with Alice being like, Edward's gonna kill himself. I was like, well. It's gonna be a long one, and it was like 4:30 in the morning when I finally finished. So. Because I know it's not.
Zooming.
Why are you zooming?
The volume button zooms.
It does.
Okay, there we go.
Some parade their head around on a stick and on and on and on.
River Jordan's book comes out the day before. What do you think I'm going to be doing?
Skipping Young Women's is what you're going to be doing.
She could skip Young Women's, or she could be reading a book. I mean, she could be doing meth.
I don't think she could. I don't think Lindy has it in her. Like, meth is a messy drug. Have you ever watched like any of those intervention shows when they're doing meth? They're like, let me put it in some tinfoil and then like spit into it and then like light a flame under it so I can huff the fumes. You think Lindy's gonna spit into something and huff the fumes of her spit? She couldn't handle sitting in the tow truck without like bathing in antibacterial wipes. Every time we're like, no, we gotta change locations because this garage can't fix it. She's like, do we have to get back in the tow truck? I'm like, unless you want to hike 3 miles, yes. Yeah, I recorded all that.